Hey everyone, and welcome. So, if you really want to click with native English speakers, you've got to know your idioms. But here's the thing, not just any idioms. Today, we are diving into 9 essential phrases that people actually really use in their day-to-day conversations. Okay, let's get into it.
You've probably seen this one a million times in your English textbook, right? It's the classic example they always use, meaning it's raining super heavily.
Yeah, exactly. The truth? Almost nobody says this anymore. And, using these kind of old, outdated phrases can make your English sound just a little bit unnatural, which is the last thing any of us want.
And look, this is a super common problem for English learners. You spend all this time memorizing phrases, only to find out they make you sound like you stepped out of a time machine. But hey, don't worry, we're here to fix that right now.
I want you to think of this as your personal toolkit. We're going to load you up with 9 modern, really practical idioms that you can literally start using today. This is all about making your English sound more natural, more fluent. So let's get started.
First up in our toolkit, to be on the fence. Just picture a fence, right? With 2 yards on either side. If you're sitting right on top of it, you haven't picked a side yet. It's the perfect phrase for when you're stuck between 2 choices and you just can't make up your mind. You could say something like, I'm on the fence about whether to take the new job or just stay where I am.
Oh man, this one is so relatable. We've all been there. It perfectly describes that frustrating feeling when an idea sounds so simple, but actually doing it is really, really hard. Like a friend might say, just learn to code. And you'd be like, yeah, that's easier said than done.
I love the visual that this idiom creates. Imagine a perfectly clear blue sky, and then bam! Something just appears out of nowhere. That's the feeling. It's for something completely unexpected that just catches you completely off guard. For example, I hadn't heard from him in years. Then he called me completely out of the blue.
This is a fantastic one for talking about agreement or disagreement. If you and someone else see things the same way, you see eye to eye. It gets used a lot when talking about work or personal relationships. So you might say, my roommate and I don't always see eye to eye on cleanliness, but we get along.
Now, this is such a great positive idiom. It describes that perfect situation where you don't have to choose between 2 awesome things, you get them both. For instance, living in a small town that's close to a big city can feel like you have the best of both worlds.
Okay, you will hear this one all the time, especially in business, or any kind of creative work. The box is just a metaphor for the normal, boring, conventional way of thinking. So to solve a tough problem, you need to think outside the box. A manager might say, team, sales are down. We need to think outside the box on this one.
All right, let's talk money. This idiom is all about something being way too expensive. If a purchase costs a lot of money, maybe more than you can really afford, it could break the bank. You might say, I'd love to go on a trip to Europe, but I need a plan that won't break the bank. This is your absolute go-to phrase at the end of a long day. When you're tired, you've done enough, and you're ready to stop, you decide to call it a day. After hours of studying, you could just turn to your friend and say, you know what, I'm exhausted. Let's just call it a day.
And for our last tool, rings a bell. This one describes that feeling, you know the one, where a name or a place sounds familiar but you just can't quite place it. It's like a little bell is faintly ringing way back in your memory. So if someone asks you if you know a person, you might say, that name rings a bell, but I can't picture them.
So there you have it, your 9 new tools all in one place. Go ahead and pause here if you want to take a quick look. As you can see, they cover all sorts of everyday situations, from being undecided to just stopping work for the day.
All right, you've got the toolkit, which is awesome, but now let's make sure you know how to use these tools. It's time for a quick quiz to see what you've picked up. You ready? Okay, here's the first one. So you're trying to choose between a laptop and a tablet. You just can't decide which idiom fits perfectly in that blank.
That's it. You're on the fence. You haven't chosen a side yet. Awesome job.
Question number 2. It's been a really long day. You've been working hard, and you just want to stop. What do you say?
You got it. It's time to call it a day. Perfect. Let's do one more.
Okay, last one for you. You get 2 amazing benefits at the same time. You have a great job, and you have the freedom to travel. What do we call this perfect situation?
Absolutely, it's the best of both worlds. Fantastic job on the quiz. You're definitely ready to start using these in conversation.
So, what's the big takeaway from all this?
Well, it's not just about memorizing a list of phrases. It's about really understanding how the language works in the real world and getting that confidence to jump into a conversation.
And today, you've done just that. You've added 9 powerful, practical, and modern tools to your communication toolkit. Using these is going to help you express yourself so much better and just sound more natural when you speak. But hey, the real test starts now, right? The whole goal is to take what you learned and actually apply it. So have a think. Which one of these 9 idioms are you going to try to use in your next English conversation? Thanks for hanging out with me today.